this City Council meeting to order, April 17th, noting it's 6:35. All council persons are present except for Mrs. Hale. This is wow. Mrs. Hale. How long have you known her? Okay. Mrs. Wilson is not here, nor is Mrs. Hale. So, and with that, I'll ask Mr. Hale to say the pledge of allegiance and pray.
Okay. Let's pray. We'll pray first, Mayor. Can we pray first? Let's
Got a little shook.
Dear Heavenly Father, we praise you. We just thank you so much for giving us this opportunity, Lord. We ask you to give us guidance and direction as we go through the matters of the day, Lord. Keep us safe as we leave here. And we just ask all these things in your name, Lord. Amen. Do the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item number 4 is would be to consider approval of the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of March 20th.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from the regular scheduled meeting of March 20th.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion regarding those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes. We're going to skip to agenda item number 6. This is a presentation of recognition to city employees. And at this time, I'll have Nelson, if you would just make a few brief comments.
Yep. Our city, on behalf of the entire city council, we got pictures of our guys in a ditch working on a pipe. That was unbelievable, and it didn't make a big difference then, but that was the coldest night of our entire season. And when things like go on like that, the entire city council didn't take it for granted, and I think it means even more to us now that we're recognizing these gentlemen now. So could Justin Bolton come to the front? Kelly Johnston, Johnny Cameron, Richard Garrett, and Chadwick. We just want to recognize these gentlemen for doing that.
And we're going to do a quick picture. I'll do that for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But it means a lot to us because one of the things that you guys didn't have to do that. These were not you guys' homes. It wasn't your water pipes that was being busted, and those type things we don't take for granted. So, on behalf of the Troup City Council, we applaud you.
Another thing I would like to point out is none of these funds were city funds. The city council provided these funds on their own.
Just in case anybody asked.
That's right.
Mrs. Hale makes us
All right, Joe. You're the only one not looking this way.
I'm usually not distracted.
Oh, no.
Guys, thanks. Thanks. Thank you. It's hard to understand if you're not an elected official of this city or any other city or county or state what the staff people are called on to do from time to time. So thanks again, guys, for your prompt response to a city crisis. Next, because Jeff's presentation is going to take us a few minutes, I think I'm going to go ahead and move to agenda item number 9. and that will be to consider authorizing the mayor to adopt a proclamation declaring May as Motorcycle Awareness Month for the city of Troup. And that would in fact need a motion.
I make a motion that we declare, I don't have it right, May or this month is motorcycle awareness.
What is it?
Motorcycle Awareness Month
Yes.
for the city of Troup.
Yes.
Okay, so we have a motion. And present, and here, in the discussion phase, here to make that, once again, is
Only me, Brenda Daniels.
Brenda. And so we will, let us vote on this, Brenda, and then we'll take a picture of you doing this too. This will be Nelson's picture. We have a motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And I might remind everybody that we were talking about this. This is probably at least a statewide thing. It may be nationwide, but statewide thing. But every year, she's very diligently here getting us to adopt this sign. And they do have some yard signs that we can put in yards if anybody wants.
Yes, if anybody wants one, just let me know, and I only brought one, but I can bring more.
Okay.
And I go to like 15 different counties.
Wow.
I used to have people that went with me, but they all don't care.
Yeah, I was thinking of that 3 or 4
When I first started doing this 10 years ago, there were 40 and 50 people that would show up, and now it's, Brenda will do it.
You should go to California.
Why do you think people would follow me there?
I just got back, and what happened is that California, they weave in between the cars.
Oh, we can do that here too.
And, but the people in California don't look out for anybody. I mean, they're,
He's talking about splitting the lanes. We can't do that in Texas.
It's not legal.
I just want to put that out there. That is not legal in Texas.
No, I was like,
I was just going to Sarah hand, he handed that to you.
We'll have two.
How does that?
One with one camera, and one with
How
another.
does that look?
That was great. That was better. One time. Hang on.
You want us to smile?
Well, you know, it's choice.
My hair look okay?
did you want to change this? Did you want to put Gig and Maggie's on the note?
Pushing the circle, I think.
All right, here we go. Oh, it's only Google.
Shouldn't he hold his thumb up for motorcycles, Gig and Maggie's or something?
Push outside the circle, I think it's outside what happened to it.
Well, if you have a,
All right, let's try that. Yeah, that's complex, isn't it? Okay, one more time. Just back.
Thank you.
you want to turn the sign on the right?
Turn to the side.
And I will get some more and call you. Okay.
all right, thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna go. I don't have to raise up this time.
Well done.
I'm going to.
At this time, since we're all over the place on the agenda, along with my brain process, we're going to move back to the citizen comments section of the agenda. That citizen comments would be brief comments concerning non-agenda items. Comments for the agenda items should be held until called for. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mr. Jeff Fields McCormick.
Good catch.
Yeah. Jeff is a senior, junior? A junior at Troup High School, and you're National Honor Society student, and he had a project that he raised money for us for specifically this school. And he's fixing to give us a rundown on that. So you guys get a picture of you with the dog, and then Jeff will let you go ahead and start your
A little bit about
presentation.
what exactly this is, like I said.
Yeah, no, this is your time.
Okay, I'm not trying to like impose.
No, this is your time.
Okay, so,
That was a lame introduction that I just did. Now you
I
take
didn't
it
know if that
over.
was all of it, or if I, okay. So this has been going, this has started in November. The little Mexican restaurant where farmers used to be, I can't think of the name, but it was like taco soup day or something, I think it was. And we got in there and he brought the canine unit, didn't bring the dog. And we got talking about it, and that's how I found out it was that the dog was sick. And recently in one of our NHS meetings, Ms. Berryhill had brought up that we were required to do a community service project of some sort. Some did things for the clothes closet, for food pantries. I decided to take my project and put it towards Stowers. And, you know, because how much the K-9 program's done for Troup and for the area. And so I've been in Scouts since I was like yay high. And one of the things that we have to do every other year or so is we meet with a city official or an officer and talk about the community and what we as a Scout can do. And every time I've went to him. And so this was kind of my way to give back for meeting with you over several years back and forth. So, yeah, I met with the administration for Troup, the administration regarding the food. I've contacted several food companies in the area that donated the funds required for the spaghetti dinner we did. It was a spaghetti dinner and raffle prizes for various gift cards or services from Troup and Tyler businesses. And this was the presentation that we showed up on the board at the beginning.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that. I was trying to get the sound and why did it do that?
There it is.
I tell everyone he has to enjoy because he's been here longer than I have. So I just drive him around. He tells me what to do.
He's embarrassed.
He's a good sport. We go to the elementary school, the kids tug on his ears and his tail, and he just sits there and takes it.
This weekend, a local high school student is raising money for the officer. Fox 51's Kara Pritchard joins us live with more. Kara, what is he doing?
Well, Jessica, Jeff Fields McCormick is a junior at Troup High School, and for his National Honor Society Community Service Project, he's decided to go big by honoring their K-9 program. And this weekend, everybody is invited.
He's goofy at times. He doesn't like hardwood floors because he runs and slides. He gets bullied by our cats all the time.
Just being around K-9 Luke, you'd never know he's already 13 years old.
He's a good sport. We go to the elementary school and the kids tug on his ears and his tail, and he just sits there and takes it. I tell everyone he has seniority because he's been here longer than I have, so I just drive him around. He tells me what to do.
10 years of his life has been working for Troup Police Department, 6 of those with Sergeant Kyle Stowers.
He's having issues with his throat, causing him to throw up a lot. He's got aging of his lenses, which causes him not to be able to see very well. His depth perception has started to deteriorate.
Junior Jeff Fields McCormick knows vet bills for Luke adds up. The city allows $1,500 a year. That includes training and food.
It's my way to repay him for helping out with me early on Scouts.
As his community service project through National Honor Society, he's holding a fundraiser for the K-9 program, Spaghetti for Stowers.
It's pretty neat having someone of a higher standing in the community, in the police department, to be able to say, you know him not just as an officer, but as a friend.
I'm honored. I'm honored by Jeff's project, and I think it's going to be a success.
Anything to help K-9 Luke finish off his last year as a Troup police officer. Now, Officer Luke is retiring at the end of this year. Now, Spaghetti for Stowers is this Saturday, and it's going to be $10 for a ticket, and that includes your meal, and then $10 for the raffle. I'll have the time and the address on our website, easttexasmatters.com. Reporting live, Kara Pritchard, Fox 51 News, East Texas.
So they have a yearly budget for the K-9 program of $1,500. And my goal was $1,000. I thought if I could bring their total for this year up to $2,500, that would help a lot with vet bills. We were able to raise $1,700, which more than doubles their total, their yearly budget. So without further ado, I'd like to present to you.
Now I'll get just the men. Oops, the taller men. Sorry, Luke.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jeff, on behalf of the council, I'd like to tell you again how amazed I am, and I think the men and women here would say the same thing at your level of commitment to this project. What's in your future? You've got another year probably here at Troup, and
Yes,
where do you see yourself?
One thing that I've met with several scouting executives is I'm trying to hit Eagle. I've met with several people with the scout board, and I may need your help with that later on, by the way. Just let's slide that in there real quick. But I'm going to try to hit Eagle. I should be able to hit it December to January, and I've got like 2 or 3 things, and then I should be right into hit Eagle. I've already been contacted by several larger colleges, and we're going to be taking a trip over summer to check out a few of these that are up north, and see what happens from there.
Don't let them indoctrinate you up there. It's a business.
Yes.
Come back. Okay, well, thank you again. You're obviously a fine young man, and we're proud to see your level of commitment to Kyle and Luke. So thank you very much again.
Thank you all for giving me the opportunity to officially present it.
It was a great presentation, man.
Yeah, very good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you again. So we will move on. Agenda item number 7 would be the next item. It would be to review and consider the city financial report for the month of March 2017.
If you remember, I told you at some point in time, our cash balances will start hitting the other way as we spent money on projects and that sort of thing. Well, March was really the first month that's kind of began to show up. And we're down about $3,000 from where we were last year in real dollars, and when you include our accounts payable, we're off about $5,400, and a little less than 1%. But we're still $336,000 ahead of where we were in 2013. So we're all right, and we've got 14.93 weeks of money in the general fund, and that's 3.45 months. In the water and sewer fund, we've got 30.56 weeks and 7 months. Your balance sheet is there, your expense payment is there, and we're running right where we should be at this time. So if there are any questions, well, I'll be glad to answer.
We would need to approve the March financials.
Make a motion, we approve the March financials as shown on the City of Troup balance sheet.
Second.
A motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes. We'll move to agenda item number 8, which is also Mr. Cottle, and it will be the city manager's written report. You got one?
Thank you, sir.
Let me talk about first the Troup Police Department report. I think you've got that in front of you. Because if I don't talk about it now, I forget about it. So let's talk about that. That's there in front of you. And Chief is still looking for someone to fill his open patrol position. And Officer Brown got his intermediate certification. And Kendall represented Troup at Dillon's and there's his financial information for fines and citations, that sort of thing for last month. And I'm sure Kyle would be glad to answer any questions you have on that. Is it right?
So I've got a copy of here, Colin, but
Okay. So then we'll move on to this report. At the end of March, we're at 50% of the budget. Property tax collections are about $6,500 behind where they were last year. Who knows the reason for that? April sales tax payment, remember I sent that to you
For
already?
clarification, that's collections, that's not the appraised.
No, that's
Appraised amount was slightly higher.
Well, that's for the, well, this is just the amount that we've been paying so far. And we get the new appraised values, the preliminary values Wednesday for this next year. April 2017 sales tax payment was 9% less than last year, but it's still the 5th largest sales tax payment for the city. You remember you gave me the authority to spend up to $7,500. Well, one day I was in La Hacienda and Mike Murphy was in there. He said a friend of his had acquired an animal control truck. And I didn't think too much more about it. And a day or two later, I finally remember what he told me. I told John, I said, you want to check on this animal control truck? So we did. So they offered to sell us this animal control vehicle for $7,000. It was a Grand Prairie vehicle, and John called Grand Prairie, and they had the records on it, and everything indicated there was nothing major wrong with it when they got rid of it. I contacted the folks that build the bed, and the bed is worth $10,000 if you buy the new bed. So I decided this $7,000 truck, if we could get it for that much, would not be too bad of a buy. It has about the same amount of miles as our half-ton pickup had that we were currently using, but the cage in our half-ton pickup was about gone. It was just a homemade, basically, cage. And this truck new would sell for $24,000. And this truck's a three-quarter.
Without the cage.
No, that's with the cage. So anyway, so at auction, we should be able to sell the truck for between $3,000 and $5,000 is what the book value shows on that. So hopefully we can recover most of our money.
I know two little doggies in my neighborhood, they could have ridden to the last, run across the street in the sky, you know.
Well, this one has a lot of nice features in it. The cages are very easy to get in and out of. It has a lift on the back, so if there's a large animal that needs to be lifted, it has a way to do that. So it's a very nice, it's a much improved animal. It'll be much safer and much less risk to our animal control officer than what we have existing. You remember Senate Bill 2, which limits the amount the city will raise property tax each year. That's passed the Senate and is in the House committee. Joe has a letter from one of our state senators explaining why he voted for that.
It was his committee.
Yeah, he was one of the members of that committee. As a reminder, our city, as with most property tax collectors, provides the funding for the police department. Our police department budget's 117% of the property taxes assessed each year. We assess about $550,000 in property taxes, and just our police budget alone is a little over $600,000. So whatever impacts property taxes has direct impact on the police department and, you know, public safety, and that's true with every city. Of course, a lot of cities have fire departments and all that sort of thing that are under the public safety. So when you limit that, you're limiting. The ironic thing about it is the folks that say they support the police departments are also the folks that are working real hard to limit our ability to fund the police department.
Is there, since I was not at the last meeting, did you do a brief overview of what that was?
Just a little bit.
I mean, the rollback tax rate's what we're talking about.
Yeah, it'll be 4% it'll be 5% with a mandatory election. Right now, the rule is you can have an 8% increase in your taxes and have the public can petition for election. But with the 5% that came out of this Texas Senate and they sent to the House, you'll have to have a mandatory election. And if you'll remember 5%.
At that amount or above.
That's right. And if you'll remember, for us, 5% of our taxes is about $27,250. So if we need to raise more than $27,250, we don't have enough sales tax money or other money to cover that, then that would have to come out of tax money. And if we have a mandatory election for that, that's another $6,000 in cost. So
administrative costs that we have to pay to hold the election.
That's what Smith County charges us to hold the election. So that's easily identifiable cost for that. That's, you know, that's not something that we just pulled out of the air. I have the invoices in my hand to show what they charge us each time that we have an election. So right now it's in the House committee. There's not anybody in our local area that I can see that's on the House Finance Committee. So if you know of anybody that has any connection there, it would be, you know, if this is an important thing to you. And of course, I understand the chances of it passing the House are less than the chances of it passing the Senate.
And right now, it's just out of committee. It's not made it.
The Senate approved it.
Oh, they did?
Yes.
It's in the House committee.
It's in the House
So it has to
committee.
go past there first, and they can kill it.
Well, they can certainly modify it a lot and get it to somewhere between where it is now and where it has been.
You know, I don't mind the 5% nearly as much as I mind the mandatory election. You know, that poses a big, you know, I don't mind somebody having an election. Let's don't have a mandatory election over $27,000. You know, a police car costs $30,000, so basically if we need 2 police cars in 1 year, we're going to have to hold an election for 5 seconds police cars. So, okay. The sidewalk project's nearing completion. The drainage box that extends under the sidewalk has been completed as a separate bid project at a cost of $11,000. Because reimbursement from the state has been delayed as they hold funds, probably to aid in balancing the state budget, we've been placed in the position of actually paying the contractor and waiting for reimbursement. Under usual circumstances, pay requests are submitted and money flows to the city within a week or so for us to pay the contractors. This time, payments exceeding 30 days. Of course, the contractor's coming for me begging for money because he's got to pay these people. So basically what we're doing right now is we're loaning the state of Texas money, because the state of Texas, the money flows down to the federal government. The state of Texas has it in their coffers. They're just not releasing it. So,
Was that, did we all, was that intentional that, or did we know that the 11,000 was going to be separate when we bid that, when they bid that deal?
no, we uncovered that when we,
Yeah, that was,
yeah.
so we opened the ditch up and then had that open drainage ditch.
I mean, we knew it was there.
Yeah, but there's no way to know if you dig it up.
What was that?
What was there, and what was going to be in it. You know, you didn't know what the top was.
And I might, you know, because I have a little knowledge of how these projects, a little knowledge of how they work. When the original contractor for the sidewalk project got ready to give us a price on it, he was not the low bid. So the engineering firm went out and got bids, and we're doing that phase of the project.
You saw that on this particular part.
On this particular part was about half of what the other bids were. So although it's kind of,
The sidewalk contractor wanted $22,000 to do this project.
He was the low bid for the sidewalk, and
But this was a change order.
yeah.
And of course, all this change order had to clear.
And legitimately, this was a completely unexpected thing. I mean, he anticipated pulling that old sidewalk off, and there's a box culvert going under and it was in fact a drainage flue with no top on it, just like it was underneath that building.
underneath that, yeah, I'd seen that.
And of course, it was rock and everything else, just like it was under the building. Of course, we talked to TxDOT about coming in, because underneath their street is exactly the same thing. In fact, it's beginning to collapse a little bit there. But TxDOT's opinion was they just wanted to wait and see. So at some point,
Yeah,
we're going to have to get back.
it would be a big wait to see, but it collapses.
This is going to be permanently attached to our downtown area for several hours.
I think that's one of those situations where you're in larger cities and you see those pieces of 1-inch steel plate that people drive over. I think that's what they're doing, is they're waiting to be able to patch those kinds of things.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
So,
What they said was that we've got a little wee sink here in there. TxDOT said they would come, when we got our drainage, when we got it fixed under the sidewalk, they'd come back and fill that in with, with whatever they were going to fill it in with. That was as far as they were going. I'm going to, since we're getting our preliminary values on Wednesday, I'll start working on the budget. I can start working on the budget ahead of that, but it really doesn't make any sense to me to start working on the budget before you know what your income numbers are going to look like. Because you have to try to make your expenses match your income rather than set expenses first and then wondering where the income is going to come from. So I usually wait until we get those preliminary numbers before I start. The Troup Commerce Banquet is this Thursday at 6 p.m. And the Troup's High School and the Troup Police Officer of the Year and the Troup City Employee of the Year will be as honored, as well as the Citizen of the Year and the Business of the Year. Tickets are $15 each, or $2 for $25.
You sell tickets?
City Hall.
Okay.
Ms. Bucky said. The Mayor's Prayer Breakfast is on National Day of Prayer, Thursday, May 4th at 6 a.m. at the First Baptist Church. There is no charge.
breakfast tacos will be provided by La Hacienda.
Cool.
Am I emceeing the banquet?
Yes, you are. Drew said he talked to you about it.
There's a version of that going on, so I'm not out of town that day.
You have to know Drew said he talked to you.
Okay.
Definitely there to pray for it.
We don't have to take any action on the written report. Does anybody have any questions from Mr. Connell regarding this report? Hearing none, we'll move on to agenda item number 10 to discuss and consider granting Encore an easement across the city of Troup property located on South Short Street for electrical line access to an adjacent property on West Hollis Street for a new home being constructed.
Okay.
And this is pretty simple.
This is the Troup City Park that's on Short Street right here. And the city of Troup also owns this little piece of property back here. And they're, a contractor is building a house right there. And what Encore wants to do is they want to be able to drop the line to that house across our piece of property there with a 10-foot easement. And the attorney has looked at this and said this is a simple easement. He sees no problem with it whatsoever.
And it's a pretty common request. Can't get power, they will not run power unless they have the easement across people's property.
And we need to do construction.
Sure.
So, we would entertain a motion for the next agenda item.
Okay, I make a motion that we grant Encore an easement across the city of Troup property on South Short Street for electrical line access to adjacent property on West Hollis Street for new home construction.
Second motion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. And is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed would be the same sign. Motion passes. Agenda item number 11, discuss and consider the sale of the city of Troup, surplus city of Troup assets. And I think this is related to equipment.
Yes, it is. I spent $7,000, so I'm trying to figure out some way to cover that money. So we have several pieces of equipment that we're not using. And the first of those is, of course, the half-ton truck that was the animal control truck. The second thing there is there was a generator that was originally used to power the sewer plant. It's a 25 kilowatt three-phase generator. And we no longer use that because we got a grant several years ago that there is a very large permanent generator there. This generator is actually dragging around on a trailer. We're not going to sell the trailer because the trailer's brand new, but we are wanting to sell the generator off the trailer. But we have no use for it whatsoever. So it's a big diesel generator, like I said, 25 kW. So we want to sell that. We've got 8 office chairs that we pulled out of City Hall that we want to sell. We have a freestanding Oasis water fountain and a wall mount Halsey Taylor water fountain. Those both came out of City Hall. And we have a metal pickup truck toolbox that we need to sell.
And that box blade. Yeah, the box blade. And so what we need is a motion then to authorize.
And I have the motion, wait a minute, I had to revise the motion that I passed out because I wanted to, here is the suggestion, here's the revised suggestion. There's just one little change to this one. I didn't want to sell something for $1. And of course, the law says we can't dispose of city assets. There's only 2 ways we can do that. We can auction it, or we can give it to some other nonprofit agency. So that's the 2 ways we keep people. We can't sell city assets by just saying, hey, this is for sale, you got to copy.
Okay, I make a motion that the city council authorize the city manager to sell the surplus city assets as presented to the council by placing them on auction with Auction Express. And that he list.
And then the latest, I'm sorry.
Oh, and that the list be attached to the council minutes. The city reserves the right to reject any and all bids.
Second motion.
A motion and a second. Is there any additional discussion about these auction items? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes.
And there's the value of our truck. Somewhere between 39, I considered it in rough condition, it's somewhere between $3,984 and $5,240. It's a little difficult to see, but that's.
Have you found that these at these auctions they bring near? At these auctions, they tend to bring somewhere between the low and the high number.
Depends on how much interest.
Okay. Agenda item number 12, discuss and consider notifying the city of Ark that the city of Troup is withdrawing from the animal control interlocal agreement with the city of Ark pending completion of a city of Ark agreement for impounding services with Smith County.
Right now, we have an interlocal agreement with the city of Ark that will take their animals and take them to Flying Animal Shelter. So we've been doing that even though Flying Animal Shelter hasn't been in existence for a long time. So I talked to Mayor Lowry, Terry Lowry over Ark. I said, we really need to rework this agreement. And this was after we worked our agreement out with the city of Smith County. So what he's gonna do, he's gonna go get him an agreement with Smith County. So if we're picking up their dog for some reason, their dog count from Ark doesn't count against the Troup dog count. So everybody needs their own agreement, and then when everybody gets their agreement into place, we can work something, we might be able to work something.
Yeah, and honestly, way back in the day when we developed that interlocal agreement, I thought we might have been underselling our services a little bit. You know, I mean, it's hard to determine that. I mean, I think y'all have told us that if we need something, they always will lend us something, and vice versa. So it's a good relationship. But you know, it's, you know, if you can, the total number of hours a guy has to spend, or Johnny has to spend collecting a pet, bringing it back here for 2 or 3 days, and then finally taking it to Klein, and now Smith County, you know, we got a lot of man hours in there, plus vehicle mileage.
Somebody has to pay for it.
So we need to basically.
We have to give them 45 days notice to get out of it.
Yeah.
I just need something to kick that in so we can write them.
Yeah.
Okay, I make a motion that we notify the city of Ark that the city of Troup is withdrawing from the animal control interlocal agreement with the city of Ark pending completion of a city of Ark agreement for impoundment services with Smith County.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And that motion passes. Agenda item number 13, discuss and consider approving Troup Community Development Corporation project for the expenditure not to exceed $48,000 to fund infrastructure improvements of decorative street lights on the north side of the 100 block of West Duval. This is a follow-up from a previous decision.
Let me talk about this for just a minute, because as this project is developed, there's some things that I need to show you. And of course, this $48,000 is a project that's been approved by the Troup Community Development Corporation based on what we thought might be the high-end cost for lighting fixtures on the sidewalk. However, I wanted to show you where we stand on existing TCDC money on this project. When we first started talking about this project, the engineer estimated that the project was going to cost $180,000. Okay, the maximum grant we could get for that was $150,000. So that was a difference of $30,000. Of course, you're having to project yourself into the future a little bit. So I asked the TCDC to give us $55,000 to fund this project, because you didn't know if you were going to come in. Because traditionally with engineers' estimates, I've usually found their estimates to be a tad low. So I tried to give us plenty of headroom there. So the TCDC has already provided us with $55,000 for this sidewalk project. This is where we are right now. The actual bid on that contract was $135,518. The change order for the drainage was $11,250. For those items, the city match that required is $15,500. So out of this $55,000, you take off the required city match, and the TCDCs has over contributed $39,500 to this project. Okay. I've talked to the electrician who's doing the work, and he estimates that his cost, right, to get the wire to the poles, which is no pole set in place, but that's electricity wire to the poles, is about $3,000. So if that leaves us with $36,500 of money that TCDC has already committed.
that we've not spent.
This is
That we-
separate from the.
That's separate from the $48,000.
Yeah, that we've
Of
not
course,
spent.
yeah, and of course, I'd rather be in this situation than saying, than underestimated in the very beginning, having said we gotta have more money. So basically, even though we're asking for $48,000, if the project costs us $48,000, we're not gonna need any of that, much of that money, because we've got
Well, 12
$10,000.
There's probably gonna be some additional electrical expense.
Yes.
Don't be eating up our money now, we're ready for that.
But we should go ahead and approve this project just like it is, because it was only today that I could get all these numbers. I can see the end of this project coming, so I can see where we really are
Yeah.
on numbers.
That's fine, I mean, we can authorize expenditure, but it doesn't mean we're writing a check.
That's right, that's exactly right. Yeah. But you can't write the check without the authorization of
Right.
the expenditure.
That's what this is, so.
Of course, that's kind of like the state of Texas restricting you 5% increase. If you have a crystal ball, you can see that. But if you don't have a crystal ball, you just have to guess as best you can. Is all that making any sense to you?
Yes. Yeah.
So actually, out of this $48,500, if we maxed out, we'll probably, like Joe says, cover $13,000. Of course, if we don't spend all that money, then that gives us money if we get ready to do the other side of the sidewalk. That money is there to do.
All right, I'll make a motion that City Council approves a TCDC project for the expenditure not to exceed $48,000, which will fund infrastructure improvements of the Correa Street lighting on the north side, the 100 block west.
And I think I mistyped that. There's actually 48.5 was what it was.
I will,
Well, just leave it at 48.
I think we're
We're
good
good,
at
because
it,
of the, all right.
especially since it's on the agenda that way. So we would need a second on that.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and this would be a good time for additional discussion.
Do we know yet what the light poles are gonna cost? Do we
No,
still?
we're waiting for a committee to kind of decide on.
Yeah, we looked pretty extensively through 3 or 4 sources and have found that that's a realistic expectation of what a good quality light with the globe, the LED bulb, and the pole, what they're gonna cost.
And how many we're talking?
There's none post.
And the posts are already, the places for the posts are already there.
And would that go just on that same side?
There's some, and this is not really part of the discussion, but there's some challenges on the south side because the phone wires run overhead on the south side. So at no time, when hopefully we'll be able to see a grant for that side of the sidewalk for, too many years. And when that happens, we're gonna always have to have some structural posts, the black posts in the ground to carry those phone wires overhead, or phone and maybe sudden links up there too, I think. So those wires on that side of the street will always be there. But I've spent, months driving through other cities. I find myself now looking at street lights like I haven't looked at them before. It's not so uncommon in these older cities that haven't done an entire downtown rehab for, some of those things stay overhead. They don't bury everything. It just costs too much money to bury them. And the power companies, the phone companies, the cable providers, they have no intention of burying utilities that are working perfectly well above ground. You'd have to raise the money to bury them. We've seen it in Athens, we've seen it in Canton, the whole square, all the square in Tyler has them. And, so we're looking at them everywhere now.
Well, then we're beginning to get some compliments on downtown as it's interesting as the handrails and things like that.
Rails look good, Gene.
And the library makes it look like, between the sidewalks and the library, we look Very, very busy.
Progressive.
Booming.
But I like the rails, I don't know if you picked them out, but that's slightly.
Most of them Joey picked them out, I didn't pick them out. Did you?
I didn't, that would be an engineer thing, yeah.
Joe did tell him you wanted something nice in the way of, as nice as not to.
Don't cheese it up.
Well, I noticed they put some guardrails up and then they took them, they
weld them up and then they take them in and sandblast them and powder coat them and bring them back. That's the
they
way.
stacked them in and make them.
Yeah, they build them and then
Make sure.
they go get them all coated
There was
up.
one set they left too short, the engineer made them redo that.
See.
Because to meet ADA.
They love that too.
Yeah.
There's a few other little modifications I think that they lack, but other than, that last little section that connects the walls, I think they're practically improved.
And as soon as Moose is finished with the drainage channel, then the sidewalk contractor will come back and finish the sidewalk overlay. What Moose likes on that is there's a manhole for access in there.
Moss.
Moss, I'm sorry. Yeah. And they'll pour that, and then that'll be done.
Okay, so any additional discussion on agenda item number 13? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion passes. Agenda item number 14, it would be comments, input from the council, mayor, or city manager concerning items of interest for a future meeting. Anybody got something they want to get out there and discuss?
In case y'all didn't hear, Gene solved the mystery, or the mystery of the rose, whoever saw the roses is the best.
Well, they were just taking care of them.
But when I try to call that person, I think she declines my call.
Oh,
The rings and go, beep, 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 beep. So,
All right.
Okay, I got a question on the Officer Brown on the gas leak. Was that resolved, or was that just an accident, or?
Yeah, it was resolved.
Real quickly, the fire department just went in there and shut the gas off to the house.
Okay.
Yeah, they cut a line inside.
The lady had workers,
Oh.
and they got into the line, doing trimming or something.
Okay.
Well, it was a 10-minute thing.
It happens more often than you think.
Okay.
Especially people with bulldozers and stuff, they'll hit a gas line underground and it
I might mention that it happened at the fire station.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, when the fire station was being built, the dirt contractor was there doing some drainage work, and the concrete guy had too small a tractor and couldn't get the grade right where it touched the state highway. And so he went over and just, as a good Samaritan, put his bigger piece of equipment down there, ripped through a 2-inch gas main. Shut the highway down for about 3 hours at the fire station. And that's why when they say dial before you dig, it's a real important thing to remember, because your liability, I mean, from a safety standpoint, obviously, but also you as a contractor or a property owner, if you dig without calling 1-800-DIG-TEST, DIGGTES, or DI1GTESS, if you don't call that line locate service, then you incur some liability for electrical lines, water, sewer, and gas lines.
Right behind you.
Bye, Luke. See you, buddy. Okay, then I declare this meeting adjourned at 7:30.